Hello, Kimera Hashiv and Jewish Misha Joseph Hami and Paslich and Jew. Uh, Welcome to another Gaelic lesson. Yesterday, if you've been following my video clips, you'll see that we spoke quite extensively about what's your name, Jane Tenema-Horst. We also spoke about how to answer that. Mary told us it's her name. She marry a horum. Okay, it is Mary that's on me. Okay, so Jane Horst, what is the name that's on you? And Mary tells us here, she marry a horum. It's Mary that's on me. That's my name. And that's how we say it in Gaelic. It's Mary that's on me. Now, I have to say, that in Scottish generally and in Irish as well, we use this construction in English. If you've ever spoken to a Scottish or English, well, Scottish or Irish man, I should say, you'll hear them saying things like, "What's the name on him? Did you see the face on him? Did you see the hair on that woman over there?" So we use that kind of construction colloquially. Um, so it's really important that you know that it comes from Gaelic. Okay, so the next time you hear your Irish friend saying, "Oh, did you see the shoes that woman's wearing over there? Did you see the shoes on her?" You'll know that that comes from Gaelic grammar. It's something which has been transferred into English. It's very interesting. So in Gaelic, Jane Horst. What name is on you? Maria tells us there. I guess we should call her Mary. That's her name. She Mary Ahoram. Mary's on me. That's the name that's on me, Mary. Today we're going to expand on that a little bit. We also spoke about Anne, how you can take some conditions and talk about them being in themselves. So instead of saying on themselves, like Mary with the name that's on me, with good afternoons, for example, you can say Shifeskan ma ahaun. It's a good afternoon that's in itself. And I gave an example yesterday, Shehicher ahanam. It's a teacher that's in me. I'm a teacher. Okay, don't worry too much about it. We'll go over that later. But right now, today, we're going to play on this because we want to create a conversation about my friend, and we're going to call him Richards. Okay, so first of all, I've got a few new phrases for us to learn. Okay, so let's just begin with those and then we'll do Richard's part in a minute. Okay, so up until now, you've learned how are you as Kimera Hashiv or Kimera Hau, but there is actually another way to do it. You can say, what's your state? Je to chor. Je to chor. Do here is actually to, like to. Je to chor. Je to chor. Okay, what's your state? No verb there, is simply what your state today and you. Okay, and the answer, good state. Good state. So there's no verbs here, you'll see. Je to chor and you. Korma. It's chor because of the rules about putting that extra H in. If you want to check in your grammar book, that's called lenition. Okay, so it's je to chor and you, and the answer without the lenition is korma. Korma. This is quite common to say. You'll hear this a lot. Je te chor, what's your state? How are you? Korma. Good state. Yeah, I'm fine. We already did Jane Tenema-Horst, she Joseph Ahorum. Okay, so obviously in an introduction, you wouldn't just say, "Oh, hello, um, she Joseph Ahorum." It's a bit like saying, "Hi, Joseph is on me." That would be a bit strange. You would say, "Is Misha Joseph," which you already know. But if you're asked, "What's your name?" you answer, "She Joseph Ahorum." Autumn being on me. And we're going to talk in a minute about how to refer to other people. The plural, what's the names on them? Jenna Hinneman Ahora. Peter and Jane. Jenna Hinneman Ahora. Their names are Peter and Jane. A new phrase for today. Now, before I started doing my Rosary podcast, all my other video clips, I use this word furach a lot, so you should know this by now. Catchevelu a furach, hami a furach an paisley, paslich in Gaelic, or you could say hami a furach an glasgow. That would be an glasgow. Paisley takes an M. Just practicing this phrase from the other day, from yesterday. Shifesker ma ahon. It's a good afternoon in itself. Ache, think of sneezing. Achoo. Achu. Ache means place. So you can say, and there should be a little thing there. Let me just put it in. Okay, it's going the wrong way, but you can see it, a little apostrophe there. Chache ma ahon. It's a good place that's in itself. And I'm saying there, I agree. It is a good place. If I wanted to say, no, it really isn't, I would say, Genial. No, you're wrong, it's not. Genial just means, no, really, please, don't call it a good place, because it's not. Kimina Hashiv and Shin. Kimina Hashiv and Shin. So because I'm using the plural here, we could take this to mean, how's everyone? How's everyone? And Anshin there. So sometimes in my podcast, you've heard me say, Hami Ansho, and I'm Paslich. I'm here in Paisley. So Kimera Hashiv Anshin. How's everyone there? How's the people there? Shiv being you plural. So I'd be talking to a group of people. Okay. Kimera Hashiv, how are you all, basically? Kimera Hashiv and Shin, how are you all there? And Glaiva, of course, the extra H because of lenition creeps in there as well. If you don't know the rules of lenition, they're not complicated, but they're a bit confusing. So you can have a little look at your grammar book. I guess Anshin and Paisley, okay, and they're in Paisley. They're in Paisley. Remember, Ansho is here. Okay, so I guess Anshin and Paisley, and they're in Paisley. Guma. Gu is a linking word. We'll talk more about that. Glaiva. Glay means very. Right, so now for today, we want to talk about somebody else, to ask what the person's name is. Okay, so I've made up a little dialogue here about someone called Richard. Okay, so you can see here that it begins with me, and I'm saying, just to begin, Shin Richard. So I'm out and about, I'm walking, and I see my friend Richard, and I say, oh, Shin Richard. Now, if you've been following this, you'll know that I did the same yesterday with a woman called Mary. I was on the street, and I said, Oh, Shin Mary. That's Mary across the road there. It's the same as saying there's Mary. It literally means that. Okay. And then I quote to her, Vary, Kimera how? Because the name changes, of course, when you call her by the name. So I'm doing the same with Richard, okay? So I see this guy called Richard. He's a friend of mine in the streets. And I say to him, well, actually, I don't. I don't speak to him. I just say to my mind, or in my mind, oh, Shin Richard, that's Richard over there. Okay. And then I basically go home. Okay. Hamiadol Yaki. Hamiadol Yaki. It means I'm going home or I go home. Okay. Dahi is the word for home. Again, an extra H is creeping in here because of the rules over lenition. So that becomes more of a yeh sound. Yahi. It's not quite a yeh, it's a kind of a yahi. It sounds a little bit like a yeah, 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 yahi, yahi. But it's not a straightforward D. If we're taking the word on its own, for example, Kachabelu, okay, where are you? Which we'll come to look at in a minute. But Kachabelu, remember, where is catch. Avail is the way we ask a question. Kachabelu, where are you? So where are you living, for example? Okay, so if someone says to me, where are you? And I want to say, oh, home, I can say, Dahi. But because the extra H is gone in there, that actually becomes a kind of yeah sound. Yahi or yahi, depending on exactly where the person's from. Okay. So anyway, getting back to my story. Okay. So I have this guy called Richard. He's my friend. I'm not going to talk to him. Okay. But I see him in the streets. And I say, Shin Richards. Hamiyado Biache. And then I meet my friend Oscar at home. Okay. So it's me. And I say to Oscar, hello, Oscar. Oscar replies, hello, Joseph. Kimera how and you? How are you today? Or he might just ask me, uh, he could say that if he wanted to be friendly. Okay. So this is Oscar. He's asking me this. And then I say, Gleva. And I tell him that I saw Richard today. So we're not going to get into the past tense, okay? I'm just going to say I saw Richard today. And Oscar doesn't know Richard. And Oscar's not British, okay? So Oscar says, Jane Tenema here to Kharage. Okay, I'll just make that into a question. Jane Tenema here to Kharage. What's the name on him? Your friend? Yeah, and then I respond, Richard. Okay, and then I can just continue with that for a minute. I can say Richard, and maybe you can remember how to say it. I can say Shay Richard. My typing is terrible, isn't it? There should be a space there. Okay. She Richard a hair. Okay, so let's just check on this. Okay. So basically, further up here, as you can see, um, Mary, she told us that her name was Mary by saying, "It's Mary that's on me." Okay, let's just see if we can find that. She marry a Horam. Okay. And then we looked at this briefly yesterday. So we're talking about Richard now, my friend that I saw. Now I'm telling Oscar. So I'm not saying Oram anymore. I'm saying er, her. Okay, ha, er. Okay, so let's see. Jin tenem a her to Harwich? She Richard a her. Yeah. So there we are. So you can see there, just continuing on about Richard. What else are we going to say about him? Okay. So I've done this part already. She Richard Hare. We got that from the same construction as above. Do you remember? She marry a Horam, but with marry, she was saying it about herself. But in this case, I'm saying Richard is his name. It's Richard that's on him. Okay. And this is important. I was saying this earlier, that you know all these different endings. Whose name is on who? Um, we're going to continue talking about Richard now. Remember this phrase, Cachavel u a furach? Now just go back to that so you don't get confused. It was just a little bit further up here. Cachavel u a furach. Hamia furach and Paisley, Paslich. Or you could say Glasgow. Okay, so an Paisley, because of the P, it becomes M, and an Glasgow would be the correct way to say this. Cachavelu, a Furich. I'll just mark that in green so you can see it. Okay, so here, Oscar is going to continue this conversation. Okay, so he's asking me, Cachaveli, a Furich. So Cachavale Richard, a Furich. That's really what he's asking me, okay? And my answer here, I'll just put in me. Ha Richard a Furich and in Edinburgh, or in Gaelic, that's Dunedin. Dunedin. And then Oscar, he replies, Dunedin, say Acha ma ahon. Now you should know this, this construction, because we've seen it already. Let me just highlight it. So, from the other day, from yesterday, we said, let's just check. She fesker ma ahon. Do you remember what it means? Yeah, it's a bit like saying Mary is a name that's on me, but when we talk about conditions, we can talk about them being in themselves. She fesker ma ahon. It's a good afternoon in itself. And I gave you another example up here where we use an. So autumn was on me, an is in itself, and se teacher ahanam. It's a teacher that's in me. And I used that yesterday to demonstrate it for my occupation. I don't say I am a teacher, I can say a teacher is in me. Now it's not on me, it's in me we use. Okay, so in this case, she fesca ma a home, she hitcher a hanum. So if we go back down to Richard, okay, what are we going to say about him? Let's see. Um, so we've said, ha Richard a furach and an Edinburgh. Oscar says, Edinburgh, Dunedin. Say acha ma a home. Okay, it simply means, well, can you guess what it means? I'll say it 3 times. She acha ma a home. It simply means it's a good place that's in itself. A good place. Acha is place. A home. It's a good place that's in itself. There we are. So, yeah, that's how we would talk about Richard. Let's just go over this again, just to be clear. Okay, so, Shin Richard. Hamiado Yahi. Hello, Oscar. Hello, Joseph. Gymra how and you. Gleva. I saw Richard today. Oh, Richard. Jane Tenham a hair to Harwich. Richard? She Richard a hair. Richard. Catchaveli a furach. Ha Richard a furach and Dunedin and an Edinburgh. Dunedin, Edinburgh. Say Achima a home. That's a lovely place. There we are. So that's the story of Richard. Now, of course, we can change this into different people. So on ha, that becomes simply ore. And for them, it becomes ora. You see that? There it is. Yeah. So there's on ha. You know Autumn already because we did that with marriage. Remember, she said she marry a Horum. And you know this one as well. Orsht. Okay, because you've seen it. Jin tenema horst. So Jin tenema ha Jin tenema ha ore. Jin tenema ha ora. Okay. Those are some things for you to practice with. All right. So that is how you would refer to other people and also how to talk about very basic weather conditions, but we're going to do weather separately. But that's just a little idea. So there we are. Interesting, isn't it? So let's just do Richard one more time and then we'll finish, okay? So, Shin Richard. Hamiedo Iachi. I go home. Hello, Oscar. Hello, Joseph. Cymra how and you? Gleva. I saw Richard today. Jan tenne my hair to Harwich? Richard. She Richard a hair. Richard. Oh, catch a really a furach. Richard a furach and an Edinburgh. Dunedin. Dunedin. Say Achimahon. There we are. So very nice, very nice. That's a little bit more, a little bit more. So you can take that away and write lots of things and practice it. Clever. Okay, cursed galore. That's it. Okay, is cursed galore. That means okay, enough. Martian let Chidi and Razda until probably later today or tomorrow.